Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Fuhrer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
Hey guys, it's Nick Sainer. This week's 93.7 The Ticket Athlete of the Week is Connor Booth of Bishop Newman High School. Booth ran for 377 yards on 26 carries, finding the end zone 8 times, which ties the Class C2 record. The Ticket's Athlete of the Week is powered by 3 Pillars Performance. Unlock your peak performance with the expert instruction at 3 Pillars Performance in Lincoln and online at 3pillarsperformance.com. Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Welcome in to the Corner 3, taking you around the arc of college basketball. From the NAAC to the Pac-12, the WCC to the SWAC. We cover it all now on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
Welcome in. Another Friday night means it's time for the Corner 3 here on 93.7 The Ticket, as well as theticketfm.com. I'm excited. You've heard this guy's voice here on the program, but not in person. We get him live. The stretch big himself, Jacob Bigelow. Jacob, welcome into the studio, my friend.
Of course, Austin. Appreciate you having me, man. I'm happy to be here. I figured, let's just take it to the next level, do a little in person. But no better way to spend a Friday night than talking a little hoops, right?
That's what I'm saying. We will focus mostly on Nebraska hoops. You drove down from Omaha, and you were greeted by classic downtown Lincoln. Look at Lincoln, capital city, buzzing tonight, Jacob.
Lincoln is buzzing tonight. I kind of forgot all the stuff going on tonight. You got volleyball on one side of the viaduct. You got the first game of the baseball red-white series. Then you got a concert at PBA. I was like, it's a Friday night. But I'm like, oh, there's all this stuff going on. So I forgot old downtown Lincoln traffic.
Then, of course, you'll be back in a couple days. We've got Nebraska men's basketball scrimmage. We will get to that here in just a sec. I do have to, I don't know if I want to say pat myself on the back for this one, celebrate a little bit. The Boozer Twins, Blue Devils, baby. This is one that's been an interesting recruitment to follow because the perception from the outside is, oh, Carlos Boozer's their dad. They're going to go to Duke. Sounds like the flip was true.
Mm-hmm.
They were leaning Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And then Duke came in late, where, of course, maybe nationally, the Cooper Flagg recruitment was presented as, oh, Cooper might go to UConn. This is a testy one. And Cooper Flagg was more in on Duke than maybe the Boozer twins were at first. But Duke lands them. And I think that's in large part because Cooper Flagg reclassified.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't one or the others for Duke. They get all three of them. Like, John Shire's on a heater.
John Shire is on a heater. I mean, what a way to go. I mean, back-to-back years. You assume, Cooper, you not assume. Cooper's going to be one and done, and it'll probably be a top pick. And then you got the Boozer twins coming in right behind him. That's not a bad way to rebuild inside or, on the wing with those guys. But yeah, Shire, I mean, we know one thing for sure, that when you get him in somebody's living room, you've got a fighting chance when you got John Shire on the recruiting trail.
Warmer heater right now. John Shire and Micah Shrewsbury on the recruiting trail.
Ooh, it's close. I kind of want to lean Shrews just because it's Notre Dame basketball and just the it's unprecedented for that program. I mean, it's pretty evident that he has convinced someone with deep pockets of his vision for Notre Dame basketball. And honestly, if I had that money to give, I'd buy into it too. I mean, he's an Indiana guy through and through. He graduated from the high school in Indianapolis that I say cosplays as Notre Dame, Indianapolis Cathedral. They wear the gold helmets. They're the Fighting Irish, the whole 9 yards. So, he just took him selling his vision, and now he's on quite the run for the Irish. So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Do we think that the big booster for Notre Dame's name rhymes with Schmoke Schmancis?
Maybe not. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, though. I mean, that place is incredible, man. I went out there a couple summers ago. I'd never been to Notre Dame. I mean, you wouldn't think you're on a college campus. Like, if you're just walking around. I mean, it is extravagant in many, many ways. So it's quite the place. I can't say the same for the rest of South Bend, Indiana, but that campus is quite the place.
I'm pulling up this team because I don't want to forget any of the names. It was like peak Mike Bray Notre Dame. I want to say like 27, 25, no, 20. Okay, so 2014-15 Notre Dame team. So that would have been the year we had a 39-1 Kentucky. Duke ends up winning the Natty. Obviously, Bonzie Colson comes to mind. He was just a freshman on that team. He would torment me for years to come. Jerian Grant, Zach August, Pat Connaughton, Demetrius Jackson, Steve Vasturia, VJ Beecham. I hated those Notre Dame teams, despised them because their uniforms looked cool. They were better than they should have been, and they were just a pain in the butt.
When I think Notre Dame basketball, I just think Pat Connaughton. Like, that's all I think of. I just think of him being the embodiment of I think Pat Connaughton and Mike Bray taking shots with students at the linebacker after his last game at Notre Dame. Those are the two things that I think of right now when I think of Notre Dame basketball.
How far down the list is Rex Pfluger?
He's up there. He's up there. It's kind of, I mean, it's Connaughton and it's Luke Herringody. And then after that, it's kind of, take your pick.
Pfluger never ascended to the Brad Davis and Jordan Bohannon status in the ACC that I think he would have gotten to had he played in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's I can vibe with that for sure. All I know, that might be the last thing, just for the sake of the listeners, that I say about Notre Dame basketball. One of the guys they got in this class looks like he could be the mascot. Like, he could be the mascot on a football Saturday at Notre Dame Stadium. They got recruits in town. They're taking them to the game. Like, you got to experience a Saturday at Notre Dame Stadium. And by the way, one of our guys is the mascot. I forget which one it is, but he fits the bill for sure.
Well, Nick Sainert is a big Notre Dame guy, big Marcus Freeman guy. So I know he's tuned in right now. He's probably slobbering over himself. Aaron Judge, no, Aaron Judge jersey. I'm triggered. Perfect segue. Let's hop into some Nebraska men's basketball. I mentioned their scrimmage coming up Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. at the Devaney. Tickets still available. Limiting capacity to 6,000. I like that move. Make it intimate. Pack the place as best you can. How many games did you go to in the Devaney for basketball?
Not many, a handful. It definitely, I think the last one I was at was the Dylan Talley game, Dylan Talley Iowa game. I think that was the last game at the Devaney Center I was at, but when I decided to go to games, I picked good ones. That's all I know. But I was not a regular at the Devaney Center.
I only remember one. It was Nebraska Niagara. That was the first game I ever went to. I don't remember anything about the game. I just know for a fact that it was Niagara. So pretty cool that Nebraska's headed back there. Let's just break down the roster first, then we'll get into some potential lineup combinations as we move throughout the show. Last season, Strick and I talked a lot about just the lack of athleticism on Nebraska's team. Not that there weren't athletes, right? I mean, Juwan Gary, Bryce Williams, can get up. Josiah Allick as well. Eli Rice, a little bit of a spark off the bench. Jamarcus Lawrence had a little bit of a burst to him. But as you look at last year's roster, was that lack of athleticism maybe the biggest issue with the team, or was there something else you think that held Nebraska back?
It might have been an issue, like in terms of ceiling. I mean, we saw it firsthand in Memphis. You know, they with the matchup they got with Texas A&M. I mean, it was night and day different in terms of SEC athleticism versus Big Ten. But I mean, that's I don't think that's just a Nebraska thing. I think there are plenty of other schools in the Big Ten where you could say like they've got dudes, they run good sets, but they don't have like twitchy guys. Like they don't have like blow by twitchy guys who are gonna like go right by you, put you on a poster. And that's kind of been the case for Nebraska basketball kind of as long as I can remember, aside from like a couple flashes here and there, and that's under different head coaches too. I mean, it's kind of just been a consistent theme. But I think if you want to get down to specifics, that may have been the biggest thing, keeping their ceiling lower than what it wound up being. And I say that after they finished third in the Big Ten and got to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a decade. So,
but of course, what held them back was, Terrence Shannon Jr., right? No one that could lock him. And not that anyone really locked Terrence Shannon Jr. up. Same for a guy like Wade Taylor. When you think about that athleticism, does a lack of athleticism hinder a team more on offense or on defense as you see it?
I think defense okay. For sure, especially how we've seen. It's corny and cliche to say, but Steph Curry taught the world that 3 is worth more than 2, and ever since then, it's kind of changed basketball at all levels. And with the rise and shot making from the outside, not just in the NBA, but college, high school, just the prominence of the 3-point shot. You can have a team that looks like, we've talked about this program. You can have a team that looks like your stereotypical Wisconsin basketball team, and you can win games just on shot making and finesse and fundamentals. But I think definitely on defense, and that's a perfect example, like with Terrence Shannon. I mean, I saw it firsthand in Minneapolis. They didn't have anyone who could stay in front of him, and he had one of the best games of a big season. So,
does Bryce Williams have that in him, or is he just not that same caliber of athlete, and he's not a go-to stopper on a guy like that?
That's a good question. I think Fred Hoiberg wants to know the answer to that question too, based on what we heard from him at Big Ten Media Day, talking about trying to make Bryce a more well-rounded player. I don't know if he has it in him. I could see him being a stopper, but I don't know if I could see him being like a dog, like a And I know people were like, "What's the difference between?" But there's there's levels to it, right? Like there's levels to it. And he defended lead guards well when he was running the point toward the end of last season. But I don't know if he's going to be like your when I think of like lockdown defenders, I think of, when I was a student manager, we had Evan Taylor, and Evan Taylor, like he, was a little inconsistent on offense, but you could sick him on just about anybody, and he could, more than hold his own on the defensive end. I
think of even like a Benny Parker type, right? An irritant to pest. And maybe that's Sam Hoiberg, right? Who is certainly athletic, right? Sam's quick. He has good start and stop, but not the height, not the length, not maybe the traditional athletic elements. I'm with you that I think big picture athleticism helps more on defense, but I think Nebraska overall, aside from the blow-ups from Shannon and Taylor, did a pretty good job. That was a top 15 nationally 2-point defense without a rim protector, just the way that they funnel and play the ball. So I think Nebraska did a good job. Credit Coach Lenzer and Coach Howard especially for their defensive schematics. Where I noticed the athleticism maybe not show up as much as it needed to was in the half court when things bogged down, especially against pressure. That's where I think Bryce Williams being smooth and not explosive in the half court held Nebraska back. That's where I think Jamarcus Lawrence had an important role to play on that team. Eli Rice's suddenness, because yes, it's great that Nebraska might be building more in the Wisconsin mold, right? Where you can get by with fundamentals, with skill, and with knocking down shots. But Nebraska was operating at 75% of peak Wisconsin last year. And that's where if they had another athlete or two that they trusted to be on the court, let him cook for 4 minutes, just a media timeout stretch, get the other team out of whatever defense they're running, get back to your stuff. So even if I agree big picture that the athleticism would have maybe helped bigger picture on defense, I think last year's Nebraska team specifically lacked it in the offensive half court.
Yeah, I can vibe with you on that. And when I think about, and I think, I keep on making comparisons, whether you're listening to me here or on my own show or wherever, I keep on making comparisons to Fred Hoiberg Iowa State teams. And when you think about those teams, it's crazy that his last Iowa State team was 10 years ago now. That's crazy. But you think about those teams. I mean, Monte Morris, twitchy, one of the best college point guards I've ever seen play in person. They, toward the end, they bring in, Deontay Burton and McKay wound up being more prone guys. But I mean, think about the intermediate guys on those teams, though. Like, you had a guy like Matt Thomas who had one job. He was just out there to make threes. You had pre-slim down, chunky George Niang as your point forward, initiating offense and being one of the best players in the country. And and Fred will still tell you, if he doesn't hurt his foot, you're a Final Four caliber team his senior season. And then but they had pretty athletic dudes too, like Dustin Hogue, who was just the junkyard dog. They made it work. And it's just, then that's more, I think that's a credit to Fred's basketball acumen, being able to find the best of both worlds when you've got athletes and you've got guys who are just bona fide shot makers.
And Nebraska didn't go out and get a lot of athleticism in the transfer portal. They got 7'1", 250 pounds of it in Braxton Mia at the very least. And maybe we can tag the sneaky athletic on Gavin Griffiths. But Nebraska didn't necessarily go out and just get more athletic across the board. And that's fine, right? That's their style. That's who they recruit. Starting on the defensive end, I'm curious to see just how that works defensively, because I think with a shot blocker like Mia, right? I mean, that's a top 90th percentile shot blocker in the country at worst. That tells me that, hey, they view this guy as an anchor and they want to be a little more aggressive on the perimeter. I think that frees up Juwan Gary, Bryce Williams to maybe read some more passing lanes, Sam Hoiberg for sure. But that takes those two guys locking in on a possession by possession basis. If they're not going to do that, if they're not going to commit to the game plan of, we can take that one extra step, we can cheat an extra step further and pressure because we have a legit shot blocker at the rim, I don't know how much good it's going to do, because Mia's a different player than Rink Mast. Last year's scheme was perfect for Rink Mast at center and maybe occasionally Josiah Alec as well. But Nebraska's different on the back line now. And I'm curious to see if at all how that changes the defensive scheme.
Yeah, I mean, last year especially, and the previous year, we saw them embrace the no middle, kind of, at times I'd call it the fire drill, the scramble drill, going out to defend the three. You've got a guy like Mia who you can put in the post, have him in drop coverage. I mean, not saying you got to play him like he's Zach Edey or Ryan Kalkbrenner, but I mean, Husker fans will not like this comparison, but Creighton on the perimeter, when they've got, the 3-time Big East player of the year, lurking behind there, they'll just guard you straight up. And if you get by them on the perimeter, you've got a tree waiting for you on the inside. And that is in no way me saying Braxton Mia is going to play like Ryan Kalkbrenner, but that gives your perimeter defense a security blanket of sorts. If you've got a large human parked in the post, to defend the rim and to close out in the mid range if it comes down to it.
Are you Team Ryan Kalkbrenner is legit, or Team Ryan Kalkbrenner is just big?
It's a good question. It kind of depends on the day for me.
And see, that tells me it's a just big thing.
Yeah, I mean, his defensive numbers are also, it's a credit to their scheme too. Like, you can't pretend that it's not, because their defense is like, we're gonna funnel everything into Kalk. Like, that has been their MO these last couple years. And that's no slight to him. I mean, he's held his own against, some of the best big men in the country. He, went head to head with Klingon and Sonogo and those guys for a couple years in the Big East. And he's going to get to, see Hunter Dickinson up close here at the start of December. So he's going to more so, he's held his own, but it's a mixed bag for me.
If Hunter Dickinson wasn't dead to me before, he was at the Royals Game 3 loss, so he's even more dead to me than he would have been before. Tommy, appreciate your question on the text line there. We'll get to that here in just a second. You said the name Adama Sanogo. Oh, that was a Nebraska guy. I was so in on him coming to Nebraska. Alas,
yes.
That's all that needs to be said about that. Let's get to Tommy's question here on the text line. Tommy says, it feels like Nebraska's biggest issue is going 5 to 7 minutes without a field goal. They then find themselves down or losing good leads. Does Nebraska have the talent to limit those dry spells? That goes back to, you witnessed plenty of those in your day. Doc Sadler's team, even more so than that. So I think the offense has, over the last, 15, 20 years has gotten progressively better.
Mhm.
But let's not pretend like it's just a Nebraska issue. It's a college basketball issue. Guys miss shots. They're not pros. I know everyone likes to rag on the NBA. Those guys are professional shot makers. They're not in college. Nebraska hasn't had that pure bucket whenever you need one guy. But it doesn't change the fact that Tommy's right. There have been some pretty crazy dry spells at just the wrong time 2 or 3 times a season for Nebraska recently.
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends in the coaching ranks across the country, and one of my best friends in the world, we were talking this summer, and we were joking, but it's kind of serious. It's like college basketball players right now are older than they've ever been because of eligibility, pandemic, all that thing. You got 24, 25-year-olds still playing college basketball, and you could argue aesthetically that the product on offense is the worst it's been because there's still some atrocious shot selection, some pretty brutal to the eye, basketball games to watch. And that's coming from me, who has been affectionately labeled a basketball sicko. But I can admit, like there are some tough hangs to watch on offense. And, and that can be, counteracted by people who don't like the NBA. They don't play any defense. Yeah, they do. They're just defending the best shot makers in the world. And the gap between, guys playing in the NBA and guys playing mid-major or even low, high major, mid-tier, high major basketball is still very, very steep.
Maybe the easiest transition from college bucket getter to pro bucket getter was Cam Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all that guy ever did was just get buckets. So when players at least pretend to focus on something else, hey, guess what? It's going to limit them there in that capacity. College basketball is older as a whole, and Nebraska wanted to stay old in the transfer portal. I think it's a good move by Fred Hoiberg, but maybe not as much of an advantage as it would have been 3 or 4 years ago, right after COVID. I get why Fred wanted to go the high school route and the transfer portal route there. So I think it's a positive sign that Nebraska's old. I think that raises the floor. What it does for the ceiling, though, I think that'll depend on how many of the right buttons is Fred Hoiberg pushing on a night-to-night basis with matchup.
Absolutely agree. I mean, that was kind of the buzzword of the day at Big Ten Media Days was getting old and staying old. Every coach talked about it. Everyone from Dana Altman all the way down to the first-year guys like Musselman and Danny Sprinkle. Even though Musselman was just playing a game of how many 6'6" wings can I land in the portal, and he definitely hit the over. But that's definitely become a constant theme throughout college basketball. I mean, and the rise in getting old and staying old, it killed John Calipari at Kentucky because he still was trying to win with the one and dones and the 5 stars, and it just wasn't working in the long run. And now he's got chicken nugget money down in Arkansas,
which is not bad money to have, especially if it comes with lifetime supply of chicken nuggets.
No, and if they're selling Arkansas like pig logo chicken nuggets. I mean, that is next level. That is next level branding. I cannot hate it by any means.
As long as the chicken nuggets themselves aren't slobbering.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to ask.
Yes.
We'll take our first break of the show. Jacob Bigelow, host of the Stretch Big podcast, writer for Huskers Illustrated with me. I'm Austin Oerman. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on the Corner 3.
You're listening to the Corner 3 on 93.7 The Ticket. More college basketball analysis after this timeout.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
The Rabbit Hole Bakery, located at 8th and Q in the Haymarket, is the ideal place for fresh breakfast items or desserts made daily. Cream puffs, cinnamon rolls, carrot cake, sweet potato pecan cookies, brownies, blondies. Do I need to keep going? What about bread pudding with homemade bourbon caramel sauce? Stop by the Rabbit Hole Bakery at 8th and Q in the Haymarket today to satisfy your cravings. And if you're looking for larger group orders, they do that too. Order ahead on their website at therabbitholebakery.com today.
The Lincoln Stars' next 2 home games are next weekend against a pair of Iowa opponents. Join us Friday, October 11th for a 7:05 p.m. matchup with the Des Moines Buccaneers, and then again the next night, Saturday, October 12th, for a 6:05 p.m. puck drop against the Waterloo Blackhawks. October is here, and we can't wait to see you at the Icebox. Get your tickets for next weekend's games and all future home games now at lincolnstars.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. October is pork month, so now through October 13th, enjoy fresh pork belly for $2.99 per pound. Fairway's hickory smoked bacon 16-ounce packs for $4.99. Fresh pork sausages for $2.99 per pound, and all natural pork Boston butt for $1.88 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds and warm temperatures with a high around 90. Tonight, cloudy skies, a low around 55. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds, an afternoon high around 84. Meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
Back to the Corner 3 on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
That's right. This is the Corner 3. I am Austin Oerman, joined in studio by Jacob Bigelow. Follow me at on Twitter at Austin_Oerman. Follow Jacob on Twitter at Jacob A. Bigelow. And Stretch Big Podcast. What's the Twitter follow for that?
Just at Stretch Big Pod. Toss it a follow. We're still, got some fun guests coming in the coming weeks to prep for hoops. May even be dabbling in some football stuff too. Woo. But I can't, turn my back on ball. So there'll be pretty basketball centric going forward. So yeah, I appreciate the plug, man. Thank you.
Of course. I was joking with Jay Foreman on his way out the door that even he knows it's basketball season. It's right around the corner. It smells different. And he didn't deny it. So we're all in the mood for ball. Let's get back to Nebraska men's basketball here. Shooting. Really the swing thing for Fred Hoiberg any modern college offense, right? The better you shoot, more likely the better you're going to be. As you look at this roster compared to last year's roster, which was the best three-point shooting team of the Fred Hoiberg era thus far, how do you think the shooting will compare from last season to this season?
That's one of the big questions for sure, and I think it kind of comes down to two guys in my opinion, and it's
two Big Ten transfers.
Yeah, it's the two Big Ten guys. I think if they, you're betting on bounce backs from both of them after the seasons they had a year ago, and I think their 3-point shooting clips are kind of the X factor for me in terms of ceiling for this team, because I think what you're going to get from Bryce Williams. You heard me wax poetic with Austin a week ago, my thoughts on Bryce Williams. And then Juwan Gary is just going to do Juwan Gary stuff, whether that's on offense or, he's going to crash the boards. He's going to, be playing with that, dog mentality. So I think, obviously with the production they lost, shooting wise, obviously Keisei Tominaga, but also CJ Wilcher, who people forget was on quite the heater at one point last season. Jamarcus Lawrence took and made some big ones. Indiana basketball fans are still thinking about that game at Assembly Hall, but you got to replace that somehow, some way. And with Esijan and Griffiths, those are your two leading candidates to be your 3-point shooting guys. I think their clips from beyond the arc could be pretty critical for this team.
I'm with you. I think that's the express purpose between getting those two guys. But Nebraska also added transfers at the 1 and at the 5. You get Raleigh Worcester, and then Aaron Eulis is eligible. But then even at the 5, maybe even the 4, Andrew Morgan is there. Mia won't. But then Berke Boyuktengel as well. If I told you Nebraska had either its point guard or its primary big man shoot 35% from 3, which is more helpful for a Fred Hoiberg offense?
one of the bigs, I think. And I think your leading candidate there would be Berke. And I know if you've seen his UCLA stats, you probably just your skin curl a little bit, like, oh,
But it's
really?
the same thing about Gavin
But
Griffith.
yeah, absolutely. And and Berke, he got a lot of praise last week in Chicago from both Williams and Gary and from Fred. His basketball IQ, how quick he, meshed and, seamless transition, coming over from playing international ball with the Turkish national team to just jumping into college practice. It sounded, pretty seamless. So I think the playmaking big, we've seen it the last couple years in different ways with Rink Mast and Derek Walker. But even back to, what I mentioned in the last segment, thinking about George Niang and, guys on those Iowa State teams, the playmaking, shot making big is really critical for the Fred Hoiberg offense.
And I think we're going to see it in even a different light this year. It strikes me as a much more pick and roll oriented team. I'm not going to say Fred Hoiberg doesn't have it in his bag, right? He coached in the NBA. Look at the guys on that roster. He had to run some pick and roll. It's just the way the modern NBA was going. That hasn't been Fred's MO at Nebraska or really in college basketball at all. Andrew Morgan, a lot of pick and roll, especially at North Dakota State, with just a little bit of pick and pop. Braxton Mia, if that guy doesn't roll to the rim, something has gone terribly wrong. They also talked about him, as a pocket passer right on that short roll. Obviously, Berke Boyukdengel in the short roll seems good. Raleigh Worcester, watching some of his tape from Utah, not an explosive ball handler out of it, but crafty. Knows angles, knows timing, snakes a lot, good passer as well. I think there's some, unexplored potential for Bryce Williams out of that. And Jacob, that kind of philosophical shit. I mean, they're not going to completely abandon the principles that Fred Hoiberg's run for 5 years at Nebraska, but seeing Nebraska rely so much more on the pick and roll is maybe why I'm not quite as optimistic right now about this year's team, just because it's different. We haven't seen what this looks like in college for Fred Hoiberg. And I'm not going to say Nebraska is going to be bad at it. It's just going to look different. It might take some time for fans and the team to get used to.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's in part kind of why they have the light non-con they've got to tweak with some things, obviously lineup wise, and then schematically too, just to see what looks good, off the bat. I think Andrew Morgan in the pick and roll is going to be his steady diet when he's on the floor. I think there's going to be a lot of pick and roll looks for him. Braxton Mia, when you say pick and roll with him, I think that's going to be more lobs. That's going to be more, rim running types, pick and roll from him, more than your traditional that I think you'd see with Morgan. And then Raleigh, I think he, and this is another, I've been just making comps all over the place tonight. Look at me, the comparison man. When I watch him, I think of Sam Griesel, and I know, Raleigh he's a true point guard through and through, all the way back to when he was playing high school ball in Montana, and that's different from Sam, who grew into being a true point guard. But just in terms of his level-headedness, like he's not gonna make a play that's gonna lose you the game. Like
old man YMCA game,
just old man finesse, like old man finesse, like he can put his body into you if he feels like it. But he's more so going to just be, playing really smart, really level-headed, making the right read and the right pass.
Do you want my ridiculous comparison that I've spent all day thinking about?
Absolutely.
It's not going to happen right away. At least I don't believe it will. What if I told you my comp for Nick Janowski is Jalen Brunson?
I would say elaborate on that, please.
Lefty, shorter, stockier, level-headed, kind of 3-level scorer. Brunson probably a little better defender. I think I like the Villanova peak Villanova under Jay Wright offensive scheme. I have never just had more fun as a basketball nerd just watching them run plays. But I see a lefty that's 6'2", 6'3" little stockier, plays under control, pretty good pedigree. Now I think Jalen Brunson. He's Jalen Brunson. Will probably end up with a better career. But in terms of style of play, I would like to see Nick Janowski get there.
Yeah, and that plays in. They've said they've been giving him some run at the one. He definitely was not the primary point guard, on his high school team. When you watch his high school film, it kind of feels like, did they just tell him, hey, you see this Keisei Tominaga guy? You can come be him if you want. Just given he's a lefty shooter who was pulling up from deep, in one of the top classes in Wisconsin. But that and they're both competitors too, man. Both competitors. So it's a little wild, but it's not the most absurd thing I've heard.
That's what I'm saying down the road. I'm not saying year one expectations or anything. Let's go back to the text line here, 3994. Couple fascinating texts here. We'll start with the second one. It says, also, I'll miss the old court, but the new court is fire. The new court is missing a serif on an N, so that's already a knock against it.
Yeah, and
the state outline, like you mentioned.
I don't like the 3-point line being white, and like it's just hard to see. Like it's just boring. It's bland. It's milk toast. There's my AP English word of the day. We'll drop that. That's the most milk toast basketball court they could have possibly thrown in there. But I mean, that's not saying it looks bad. It's just boring.
And then 3994 says, I've never been more excited for a Husker basketball season. I'm going to miss Tominaga, but the Wisconsin transfer will fill the role and will maybe be better because he has height and can match up better. We got the dangerous Casey comparison or a shout out from Connor Essegian in a press conference from Fred. If Connor Essegian does that, that is like Big Ten most improved player of the year, given how far in the doghouse he was for Greg Gard in Wisconsin. Is that the role for Connor Essegian? Is he more Casey or more CJ? And is that a role that eventually Nick Janowski fills, or are they really going to try to push him at the point?
I think Essegian, he's your guy either off the bench or in the starting lineup he's in there to make shots. And this is going to be the most basketball nerd I get talking about it. But his jump shot, man, like, a summer with Fred Hoiberg, that jump shot, it's quick. It's very aesthetically pure. And I don't think he's going to be pulling up from what would have been the state outline. Shout out to the old court. But I don't think he's going to be pulling up like from that deep. But I mean, we've seen that he can get going in a hurry. He did it to Nebraska at the Kohl Center last year. And I think, this is not as roaring, but I think the comp to Casey also includes the defensive end, where there is some questions there. That's kind of played a part and probably why his season went the way it did at Wisconsin. He could never really work his way back from the injury, but defensively, Greg Gard, he's got a certain standard for defense, and that kind of just plays into the comp. Guy who can get hot, has a quick jumper, can get rolling, but also your guy who you may want to hide on the defensive end.
Don't let me trick you or anyone into believing Casey Tominaga was anything but a below average defender. But to his credit, he did have that kind of Danny Green knack of just having the hand in the right place at the right time. Like he was a legit pest.
Yeah, and there was only like one game where like he was unplayable because of of defense, and that was that Ohio State game when they had Bruce Thornton and Roddy Gale just going right at him. So obviously, they're going to try to, I don't think Connor Essegian is going to be defending the number one option or any of that. But and then I think in this we talked about, I think that's eventually. I think they'd like to see Janowski maybe be a point guard. Like I think they're really high on him, man. They're really high on him. I don't know how much we see of him in year one. But I think, the things I've heard about the two freshmen, they're both well above, where most, freshmen are for, at a Big Ten school. And, in one of these non-con games, I don't know if either of them wants to redshirt, who redshirts anymore, but I'm sure in one of these non-con games, either Nick or Braden Frager is going to get in and flash hard, and people are going to be like, oh, I like what I see there.
We had that with Eli Rice last year. And I'm not saying that the lack of playing time in conference play is what pushed him out the door. Again, I think there were legitimate reasons for that. But in this day and age of college basketball, it almost seems like there's got to be some give and take from coach to player, where even if the player isn't perfectly ready, as long as it's not, behavioral, it might almost be worth it for college coaches to throw the kid out there on the court, give him enough playing time to keep him happy, as long as there's clear, open, honest, direct communication. And maybe that's capitulating. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's, bowing the knee to player power in this era. But Eli Rice looks like a pretty darn good player. I like that get from Mike Rhodes at Penn State. Would it have cost Nebraska a game last year? Maybe. Probably not. I didn't think Eli Rice was that bad. But if there's a guy whose ceiling you believe in, like it seems like they believe in Janowski, even if he's not fully ready, can you find 6-7 minutes a game for him to get his feet wet situationally, to keep him happy, to show him the vision, so you're more sure that he doesn't leave?
Yeah. Or is he a guy who, like, if the offense gets into one of those doldrums that we talked about earlier, like, here's a guy who, he wants to get a shot up. Like, can he get in and make a shot? Like, that's another thing. And it's an odd time to be a college basketball coach for sure. When it comes down to roster management, then there's definitely different ends of the spectrum. You're either, you're still trying to, your guys are your guys and you keep them around, looking at you, Matt Painter, or you can just rebuild a team from top to bottom. And you're just like, this is the way I like it. This is the way I want
Looking at you, Dusty May.
Yes.
I I have a fascination with Fred Hoiberg continually, at least for the last few years, taking guys that aren't point guards and trying to make them point guards. When you have Cam Mack, yeah, let that guy handle the ball. When you have Alonzo Verge come into his own the way he did, yeah, let that guy handle the ball. Sam Griesel, sure, okay, fine, whatever. Is Janowski a pure bucket getter that Fred is trying to turn into a point guard, kind of like Bryce Williams? Or is there untapped ball handling potential that they saw in high school? They think, hey, he's a better fit at the point guard. He can be more of a score first point guard type, Carson Edwards type, maybe more so than distributor with, spot up shooting capability.
Yeah, no, I think Fred in this, he's talked about it with Bryce. I think especially with his guards and wings, he wants them to be as well-rounded as possible. He doesn't want them to be just pigeonholed. And, he's had guys these last couple of years who kind of were. And I think just his end goal as a coach is to, do what they can in the player development process to make these guys as well-rounded as they can.
Last thing for this segment, we'll go to break and then talk through some potential lineup ideas. Rebounding. Let's start on the defensive end. Not perfect for Nebraska last year, certainly improved over the last couple years. Nebraska bigger across the board. Should this be the best defensive rebounding team of the Fred Hoiberg era?
I think without question. Without question. They've got the most legitimate post depth that any Nebraska team I can remember has had with Mia, Morgan, Berke. Juwan Gary's 6'6", but I count him in that category because he plays a lot taller than 6'6". I can't. I still often think about that Kansas State game with the 11 offensive rebounds, the 18 total rebounds, and him just bullying that team in their own house. And then might have been the quote of the day from Fred was talking about Raleigh and how good of a rebounder he is for his position and his size. And Fred even dropped, we've had NBA guys in the building and they look at our team and they say, I think your most important guy might be 25 because of how important he is to, be the straw that stirs the drink. And, he can do a little bit of everything. So, and that's not saying he's an NBA guy, but if guys with basketball eyes are like, that's your most important player, and it's that evident. I mean, that speaks volumes to me.
He screams Europe to me. That's not a bad thing, right? I mean, Trevon Shields just got his 100th EuroLeague game in. Jason DeRusso, long career over there as well. I'm glad you brought up the offensive rebounding part for Juwan Gary. Fred Hoiberg brought that up, so there's no reason Nebraska shouldn't be a good offensive rebounding team. Do you think that's just because of the post depth and Juwan Gary's athleticism and tenacity, or is that something that Nebraska is going to do more situationally when they need an offensive rebounder? They're against a smaller team. Is this a team that sends 2 to the glass and drops 3? Do they send 3, drop 2? How do you view Nebraska approaching the offensive glass?
That's a good question. I mean, and it plays into what we'll talk about in the next segment with lineup variability, because that's another thing Fred talked about. He thinks this is the most versatile, roster he's had at Nebraska in terms of lineup combinations. But I mean, he talked about, he mentioned 6 or 7 different guys who he thinks can go in there and scrap, all the way from Andrew Morgan, Juwan, Raleigh, all the way down to Sam. Yeah. And he talked about, Sam will gladly get in there and fight and scrap. So I mean, there's guys from top to bottom who are, more than willing to, put it on the line to go get a board.
While we're on quick comparisons and Sam Hoiberg, show him all of the Jose Alvarado film. All the Jose Alvarado film, or maybe vice versa.
yeah. That maybe vice versa. Yeah, that's not a bad one. I mean, if you want to get very Big Ten specific, could be just Aaron Kraft tape.
But Sam's not dirty.
No, but I mean, if you want to talk pests, there's no greater Big Ten pest than Aaron Kraft.
Sam's got to paint the rosy cheeks on too, though. That's what we got to do. Yeah. No offense, Aaron Kraft. You were a fine college basketball player. We'll talk some lineups when we get back. One last segment here on the Corner 3.
Hey guys, it's Nick Sainer. This week's 93.7 The Ticket Athlete of the Week is Connor Booth of Bishop Newman High School. Booth ran for 377 yards on 26 carries, finding the end zone 8 times, which ties the Class C2 record. The Ticket's Athlete of the Week is powered by 3 Pillars Performance. Unlock your peak performance with the expert instruction at 3 Pillars Performance in Lincoln and online at 3pillarsperformance.com.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot. just north of 48th and Lake, and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Hurry, this deal ends soon.
See Home Club for details.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $437 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1004120, 437 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 5,500 due with signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 9/30/2024. See dealer for details.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to the Corner 3 on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
One final segment here during this, I was going to say Stretch Big X Corner 3 crossover. Austin Oerman, Jacob Bigelow with you. I was reading a text here from 5452. Love this Karl Anthony Towns show. It's the Stretch Big Corner 3.
Hey,
I love
shout
it.
out to the New York Knicks. It's the Karl Anthony Towns show. That's for sure.
I was going to say shout out to the 39-1 Kentucky team that did not make it to the national championship game. That Duke won.
Yeah,
so.
People forget. People often forget.
Oh, people do not forget. I do not allow them to forget.
I don't either. I don't either. So
that Wisconsin. Oh, speaking of teams that annoy me, that Wisconsin team. Oh my gosh, we don't have enough time for that. We're talking Nebraska men's basketball here. We left off with some lineup versatility. Let's just start as simple as we can, Jacob. Right now, your starting five for Nebraska night one is
Raleigh Worcester, Bryce Williams, Jawan Gary, Berke Buchtengel, and Braxton Mia.
Ooh, okay. Strengths of that lineup.
It's big. A lot of size. A lot of interior, mid-range, which goes against Fred Hoiberg. Yeah, you say mid-range, he probably cringes a little bit, but between Berke and Bryce, there's a little bit of mid-range there. It's a smart, savvy group, and that just because this is as coaching cliche as I'll get, just because you're got five to start doesn't mean it's going to be your five to finish. So, right. But I think that's how they may come out against UT Rio Grande Valley on November 4th.
Heck yes. So that would be what, 6'4", 6'7", 6'6", 6'10", 7'1"?
Yeah.
Dang. That is incredible. Then let's go to the next 3 in the rotation. Or let's go next 4, right? Early season 9-man rotation. Who are the next 4?
Season, Griffiths, Euless, and
Morgan.
Yes. Okay. I was like, who am I forgetting? Yes. No, that's your next 4.
Okay. That makes sense to me. I love everything that you're saying except for the shooting. That would be the big question mark with that lineup. I assume Raleigh Worcester will take a step in the right direction. His 3-point numbers are weird to me. An 80% free throw shooter shooting sub 30% from 3, something's not adding up there. So I assume he's going to tick up a little bit. If Bryce Williams is off the ball, I'll buy 40% from him. If he's handling as much as last year, I don't know. It's a tough sell for me 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and this is one thing that I'll say. I'm interested to see if anyone's made any tweaks in their shooting motions. Bryce's shot last year, sometimes it didn't really have a lot of lift to it.
No.
Maybe they try to get him, more in the air off the ground. Gavin Griffiths, if you watch his Rutgers tape, it kind of felt like a windup at some points. But then if you were at the event in the rail yard, his jumper did look different. And obviously it's on a outside court that's going to be different from how he's shooting threes, inside PBA or the Devaney Center on Sunday. But I'm interested to see if Fred Hoiberg played shot doctor a little bit with some of the new guys or some of the guys, that returned.
And Bearcave filled it up from long range pretty well playing for Turkey.
Yes, he did. No, he had some really big games from 3. And there were also instances, I forget, I've tuned into one of the games because I'm sick in the head, where he just where he basically backed the dude down from the 3-point line and then dunked on him. I think he was playing it might have been against Spain or something like that, but he did light it up. Obviously the FIBA line is the FIBA line is the college line. Actually, that's what people forget about FIBA is the FIBA line is the college 3-point line. And obviously, I'm interested to see how that translates. But the guys who have played international ball these last couple of years under Hoiberg, it's translated pretty well.
What is your favorite lineup that Nebraska could run out there?
Probably the small ball lineup.
Okay, how small do you go with small?
Well, it's tough to go small when your shortest scholarship player is 6'4".
Well,
but I think
relatively
small ball. And now that I'm thinking about it, calling it small is probably an insult to the word small.
Playing a guard ball. Position
guard
ball.
Wing ball, basically. Wing ball. And I think that would include Berke, Jawan, Gavin, Bryce, and Raleigh. And I don't know if that's in the Rolodex for Fred Hoiberg, but that's a group I'm intrigued by.
I'm switching out one player for that lineup. Essegian for Worcester. Point Bryce. That to me is the Point Bryce and Berke pick and roll. Also, I will die on this hill this year. We need Bryce Juwan pick and roll. If Berke is going to pick and pop, run some 1-4 pick and roll, lob it up to Juwan, and send PBA into furor.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I support it. And I think, there's a lot of hypothetical lineups that I like, and obviously the one that I said maybe your first 5, shooting is the question. We've talked about how shooting kind of is the biggest question, in my opinion, for this group. But there's a lot to like. There's a lot that you could play with. You could go super big. You could go super big. You could have Braxton, Berke, and Gavin on the court at the same time. You could have Berke. Yeah. You could have Berke play the 3
with Andrew Morgan at the 4.
You could. There's
Bryce, Juwan, Berke, Morgan.
Oh, that's nightmare fuel. That's nightmare fuel for trying to match up. Come on, that's crazy. There's a lot to like. There's a lot of versatility with this group for sure. And then in my book, that plays back into their non-con. And I know people who have season tickets are like, I want to see them play real teams. Well, guess what? They're gonna tinker with plenty schematically and personnel wise.
I can see and just feel the tears from Piscataway right now. Hearing about that lineup. Dylan Harper will have to guard all 5 positions.
Oh, yeah, Dylan Harper. Welcome to the Big Ten, pal. If you're trying to match it, you're trying to match 18-year-old Dylan Harper. Hey, here's Bryce 24 or 23? Like
He's only 23.
Yeah, here's 23-year-old grown man Bryce Williams. Good luck, pal. Like it's something that definitely that's something. There's a lot to like. There's a lot of fun hypothetical lineups and fun hypothetical reactions and what ifs.
On the flip side of that, Matt Painter is also crying, but it's tears of joy and jealousy because he's jealous he didn't get that many big guys on the floor at once himself first.
I mean, he's got some options. Obviously, their backcourt with Smith and Lawyer, the law firm, as I'm going to call it, throughout the year. But I mean, he's got plenty of big dudes outside of those guys. Whether it's the two 7-footers that he's got waiting in the wings, or even you can have guys like Caleb First, play the 3, or Cam Heide play the 3. I mean, there's some versatility with that too. And I don't think it's any coincidence that two coaches that run a lot of good offense, they like having a little versatility with their roster.
All right. Last thing before we let you go, we get out of the way before high school football. 1 or 2 things you're going to be intently watching for the scrimmage 2 p.m. Sunday.
What the difference in look? Well, it's going to be 2 different teams. I'm sure Mia is going to be on one team. Morgan's going to be on the other team. But does it look schematic? Is there difference in scheme with Mia on the court when he's not? Does the defense look different? How does the flow of the offense look different? Obviously, it's going to be a pretty even split. I think there's a way you can construct it so it's pretty even teams, in my opinion. I'm not going to think too much about shooting. There used to be basketball games in there. It's configured for volleyball. They're probably going to do one practice, run, shoot around, and see how it goes. I'm not going to overreact too much to shooting. And then one guy specifically, I'm going to be watching Aaron Eulis pretty closely. I think I'm interested. He still ran the scout team last year. Supposedly was a pest for the starters when he was running scout, and he's got a year in a weird year for sure. Away from the court, under his belt. But I'm interested to see what his first game type action in more than a year looks like.
Let me just tell you, Amherst filled it up from 3 in the Devaney Center in last year's C2 state championship game. I am enemies with the entire town of Amherst for what they did to my beloved Lincoln Lutheran Warriors.
I think that's my biggest takeaway tonight. I'm learning who you're enemies with. You've got Notre Dame basketball, Amherst. I knew about Wisconsin. You've kind of got a laundry list. Oh, and you were triggered by the guy in the Yankees jersey. Yes. So your list of enemies just continues to grow.
Come one, come all. I am here for all of the smoke, all of the fire. Jacob, it's been a blast. It's been a quick hour. Appreciate you sitting in, man.
No, appreciate you for having me, man. Let's do this again sometime. It was a ton of fun.
We absolutely will. Again, make sure you follow Jacob on Twitter, Jacob A. Bigelow. He writes for Huskers Illustrated, hosts the Stretch Big podcast, must read and must listen. Make sure you follow me at Austin_Oerman. This is the Corner 3 here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. We got an hour off, and then we're handing things over to Nick Sainert and Jay Foreman at Seacrest Field. Lincoln North Star versus Grand Island. For Jacob, I'm Austin. Don't go anywhere. High school football comes up next on The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
You're counting on your team to win. So why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. October is pork month, so now through October 13th, enjoy fresh pork belly for $2.99 per pound. Fairway's Hickory Smoked Bacon 16-ounce packs for $4.99, fresh pork sausages for $2.99 per pound, and all-natural pork Boston butt for $1.88 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Escape the ordinary gym experience and unlock a new you with 3 Pillars Performance. Whether you're a high school athlete, college student, or former athlete, 3 Pillars Performance's state-of-the-art facility and certified trainers are dedicated to helping you achieve your fitness goals. Join a community that helps you get leaner, stronger, and move better than you ever have before. Visit 3 Pillars Performance online at 3pillarsperformance.com or in person at 5620 South 49th Street in Lincoln. Maximize your athletic potential with 3 Pillars Performance today.
Tailored Life is your headquarters for all things fall in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, mums, and more. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
The Rabbit Hole Bakery, located at 8th and Q in the Haymarket, is the ideal place for fresh breakfast items or desserts made daily. Cream puffs, cinnamon rolls, carrot cake, sweet potato, pecan cookies, brownies, blondies. Do I need to keep going? What about bread pudding with homemade bourbon caramel sauce? Stop by the Rabbit Hole Bakery at 8th and Q in the Haymarket today to satisfy your cravings. And if you're looking for larger group orders, they do that too. Order ahead on their website at therabbitholebakery.com today.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. actionlincoln.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds and warm temperatures with a high around 90. Tonight, cloudy skies with a low around 55. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds and an afternoon high around 84. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Lincoln Stars' next 2 home games are next weekend against a pair of Iowa opponents. Join us Friday, October 11th for a 7:05 p.m. matchup with the Des Moines Buccaneers, and then again the next night, Saturday, October 12th, for a 6:05 p.m. puck drop against the Waterloo Blackhawks. October is here, and we can't wait to see you at the Icebox. Get your tickets for next weekend's games and all future home games now at LincolnStars.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
All right, welcome in. Happy Thursday, everybody out there. Thursdays are my Friday, so I'm in a great mood. If you guys want to join in, this is What's Brewing with Chance of Brewington at 402-464-5685 is the Starter Heyman text line. If you guys want to put a face to the voice, you can use these streams as well. Facebook, YouTube, Allo Channel 961 if you got Allo cable, and I'm missing one here. Facebook, YouTube, X as well.
The good old X.
How's it going on a Thursday?
Oh, it's going fantastic. A busy day. I would say an effective day, though. Got a lot of things done. Had the locker room 1 to 2 p.m. There's Derek Pearson, the owner of the ticket, walking out on 11th Street, or is that O Street? On O Street. I had the locker room and pre-recorded some things with the show for me and Coach Ron Brown. And talked to the Lincoln Stars today.
Oh, you got to meet up with the Stars. Great guys.
Yeah. Talked with them, and we're getting some Husker athletes at some Stars games. So, and I'll be going to a lot of them too, and maybe doing another puck drop this year and doing some things there. But definitely got to shout out the Lincoln Stars, and maybe on this show, depending on when the head coach, I forget his name, right?
Rocky Russo.
Yeah, Rocky. When he's able to, but he definitely wants to hop on some of the shows and stuff. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So it'll be fun to just chop it up with him because I know nothing about Husker.
I'll tell you one thing.
Huh.
I got no problems with. It's not, you could be a fan of someone way worse. Big Buckeyes fan. Big Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
I think he's from that region.
Let's have him on Ohio State week. How about that?
That'd actually be fantastic.
That'd be good. That'd be some good ball talk.
He actually loves talking ball too.
Talk shop.
Like if you catch him when he's not talking hockey on the Stars, like off air, I think he loves some college football.
Yeah.
He loves his Buckeyes. So, but obviously during the Stars season, he's pretty locked in, so he's not going to be keeping super close eye on it. But yeah, shout out to Stars. I mean, they're off to a nice start right now. I believe they only got one loss so far on the season. Like the Stars are looking good.
Yeah, I think I know Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. He's going to be there Friday signing autographs after the game. Javen Wright will be there Saturday after the game, and I think I'm probably going to. I might go to both those games, or I might go to one of them.
I'm going to go to a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm going to a lot of them for sure. So shout out Lincoln Stars. Make sure you go there. But this is What's Brewing, and we love to start off with Quarter Century Wisdom. Some type of encouragement, some type of wisdom for the weekend. I would say mine is interesting. So I've been sound like a nerd, Harrison, but I've been reading a lot, right? And
yeah, I've been seeing your car outside the library.
I've been reading a lot, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm seeing a commonality, Harrison, in all these stories of all these, these people who've accomplished things, and that like people, I think we think a lot of times like we think people are overnight successes. And so there's a story in the Bible, and I don't want people to take this out of whatever and say, oh, he's going to the Bible. I just want to strictly talk about like the principle inside the story. And you can literally take it for a fiction story if you want to. So there's a king, he gets anointed king, and he goes right back to the field, right? He goes right back to the field. Not only goes back to the field, he goes back to like the lowest job in his family. He goes back to like shepherding sheep, right? And then he's anointed king, right? And then the current king brings him in to serve him, right? So not only is he serving his family, he's serving then the current king, and then his father tells him to go serve his brothers and basically be like an Uber Eats to his brothers. He brings out some whatever, ends up it's the David and Goliath story, right? So then he kills Goliath, of course, and then he serves the king again. He's leader of the army, and then the king wants to kill him, and he's on the run for 7 years, right? So I think, and then he gets anointed. Then he's becomes the king of Israel, right? So if you just look at that story, right, from the back end, I always look at it like what the people in his town, the people in his city, the people in his kingdom probably thought when he got anointed king, right? They're probably like, oh, this dude, this dude had it, had everything made for him, right? Don't really know the whole ins and out of the story, right? But when you really dissect it, he was taken from here to here to here to here. And what someone thinks is an overnight success really took tens and 15s of years of crying, of blood, sweat, and tears, of frustration, depression, and anxiety. It went through every emotion on the pursuit of his calling and his purpose. But from the outside looking in, especially we can say social media and stuff like that, we just think it's an overnight success. And so I think about the people inside of at the time in history, the kingdom of what Israel was. I'm like, man, they probably thought, they didn't know the whole story of what happened. Obviously the Psalms kind of express what David was going through all of that. I'm sure, like, generations later, they get to read the Psalms like, geez, you went through all that, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, you're an all right guy. That's our fault.
Yeah. Hey, my bad. But no, like, I think that the principle in that is that, like, though the time where he was shepherding the sheep, the time where he was serving his father, the time where he was shepherding the sheep in the middle of nowhere. And it's not like he had, hundreds of sheep, it's just a couple sheep, right? He's the lowest totem pole of all of his brothers, right? In the family, right? Not a very wealthy family, a poor family. And he says that he accredits his I would say his integrity and his character for the time when he was shepherding the sheep. And so I think the principle in that and the wisdom in that is not only taking advantage of the times where you feel like you're left out, the times where you feel like you're doing something that doesn't really matter, right? Those are the times that build you. That's the maturation process, or that's the time where you sow a seed into the ground and it grows gravitational first. So when you sow a seed into the ground, it goes down before it grows up. And I think that's the principle of the story is being okay with that, being comfortable, and acknowledging that it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy, and people aren't going to understand you. But when you get to the top, when the king got to the top, everyone was screaming his name. David killed his 10,000, Saul killed his thousands. When he got to the top, everyone was loving him, but they didn't understand the process that he went through. So I think, and that goes back, this goes back to Nebraska football. I'm telling you.
It always does. It always circles back somehow.
It all ties in, baby. When you think about all the things that this program has gone through, and just really I can say really these past 3 years, I want to include the 2022 year because you still have the Ty Robinsons, the Isaac Giffords, the Javen Wrights, the John Bullocks, really the heart and soul of this football team is from that era.
You have to pave the path. Like, someone has to be the guy paving the path.
Someone has to go first, and there's a price for going first. It's not fun. I would love to maybe sometime after the season, if John Bullock is still around here, I'd love to hear his perspective on all he's gone through. Because
you have to go against the grain.
Yeah.
And like, that's what those guys did, right? Because it's like the culture. It wasn't that like guys didn't care, and I don't think guys weren't working hard, but there's just a certain level of standard and excellence that I feel like those guys have understood more and more as they, like you said, that maturation process. And like, we're seeing it on that defensive side of the ball, especially.
Yeah.
With those guys coming back, you can see it.
Definitely. You can definitely see it. And I think, definitely a guy like Ty who's really embraced all of this, and his game has gone to a whole new level. I don't think there's any question whereas if maybe, after 2022 season, people are like, I don't know, if Ty can, I don't know, get drafted, whatever people were talking about, right? And now he's an undeniable, third to fifth round draft pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
he won't fall past the fifth round for sure.
He's gonna get a shot, and he's gonna get paid well for it.
Yeah, he's gonna make some things happen. Like, and a lot of guys on this defense is gonna get a shot, and I think I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about the midseason. We got midseason predictions, Harrison. I think we're both 9-3. Or you 8-4, and I'm 9-3, or are we both 9-3?
I had a loss to Illinois, a loss to Ohio State, a loss to
Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin was my upset. 9-3.
Yeah, 9-3. Okay, I think I might have even been 10-2. I don't know. I might have been drinking crazy Kool-Aid. But I want to talk about first. I want to talk about like just midseason. the seniors on this team, what guys do we think that can play on the next level? We just talked about Ty Robinson. I think he's a for sure lock.
Mm-hmm.
He's a for sure lock. I don't think there's any question. And then I think the next guy you go to on this defense just graded out, highest against Purdue, highest Husker this season. I believe at PFF had him at 92%, is John Bullock. And it's interesting because size-wise, I wouldn't say he's a prototypical, linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
But real explosive, has great acceleration, moves real good, plays under his feet. I think it's like, why couldn't he play? Based on the talent and not so much the talent, based on what he's producing at this level. And obviously there's more factors, and I think he runs faster than people think. I think he can get in there, like maybe even in the low 4.5, high 4.4 range, in a real 40. But he's going to get a real shot. Like, he's going to get a real shot. And this is what happens when you play on a top 10 defense.
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing guys pop up on lists, right? That's what you want to see when you look at the Bamas, the Georgias, the Clemsons of old. All of a sudden, you look on all these lists, LSU 2019, you look on all these lists of players per week. Players of the week per week. You see like, oh, Georgia always has 2 or 3 guys. Well, you were seeing this with Nebraska. Seeing all of a sudden John Bullock that get this, Sayer Wright get this. Who's the Marquise Buford get this. There's someone else that I'm missing. Tommy Hill get this. Colorado week, Sayer Wright this past week, John Bullock Purdue week. Like, you're seeing a rhythm in this defense that somebody is always top whatever. Ty Robinson gets acknowledged a lot. That's what you want to see. So I guess, is there anyone else on this defense? Oh, we gotta talk. We didn't
even say Nash yet.
We didn't even say Nash or Gifford.
Mm-hmm.
I think those 2 guys are interesting. I would say
Gifford's hard to judge though, because he does play such a unique position. I think he's been great at it. Don't get me wrong, but trying to figure out what he'd be at the NFL level.
Yeah, I really would like to see what he would play. Because if you is he a traditional safety?
I was gonna say, I think safety.
Do you put him at safety, or is he, more of a teams guy? I don't know. I'm sure they'll find a way for him. I just think he's a really smart football player, and that slows the game for him down. That slows down the game for him. And then I think the next guy we talk about is Nash and Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a perfect place for a bye week. You get a chance to get everyone healthy. You get a chance for Tommy to come back, and now poses a strange scenario now. You got Buford, who got a pick last week. I thought he played really sound. I thought there was a time where those back-to-back go balls, right?
Mm-hmm.
That happens, right? That happens.
But there's the adjustment after.
Yeah, the adjustment after goes and gets a pick, right? And goes and shuts some things down. But it's like, and then Sayer, right, comes in, has like 3 pass deflections and a pick, right? And has a really solid game. So you got both these guys playing outside corner, Sayer Wright coming in for Tommy Hill. Now, when Tommy Hill comes back, what happens?
Sayer Wright's got to stay in the game.
But why?
He was the highest rated, go PFF again, highest rated corner. Shut down everything that was thrown at him.
Okay, but now he a little light in weight, right? And in
Indiana, I would like him out there more than
so you would rather have him over Buford?
I don't want Buford out of the game, but I think right now, yeah.
This is what's tough because
But do you do that to Buford and ruin team chemistry like that?
That's what I'm saying. And Buford is like this energy guy that you need on the field.
Well, and he fixed that, like you're saying. Like he had 2 bad plays. You saw Matt Rule grab him. I think it was Rule, head coach, grab him on the sideline, talk to him, and he sharpened up after that, and he wasn't giving anything up. But then also at the same time, they started targeting Sayer Wright, and he was being just as great. He was shutting down everything that came his way at the end.
Yeah. So and someone posed the question. I don't know if it was on this show. You put him at safety. Well, then you're taking Deshaun or Malcolm out.
Yeah.
Malcolm's been playing good, and Deshaun's been playing good.
That goal line stand versus Rutgers, who made that great play on that quick pass to the outside. You see Deshaun Singleton come crashing downhill and
come down. That was a correction that Illinois capitalized on, just the play action stuff, getting guys in the flat real quick, goal line stuff, and Deshaun capitalized on that. So it's like
That's a good point because he got burned on that versus Illinois.
Yeah.
Not this time.
Yeah. Not this time.
He
They
did not let it happen
Tony
again.
White made sure that they got that boxed up. But it's like you gotta. I'm so high on Buford. I think he's a true safety. I know he's a true safety. I know he's plays corner because whatever the injury, whatever, right? But I know you have to find a place for him on the field. I would love for him to somehow get in that position where Malcolm Harzog plays. Just being able to, and I would love for him to kind of get in that position where he's able to come down in the run fit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't think people realize like he's one of our best hitters on the secondary. Like he's got that star stud. You go back to 2022 versus Northwestern, the pops in the hits he had that year. And then obviously this past year he gets this. I'm trying to think. Oh, he comes back late. He comes back late in 2023, still has a good game against Maryland and all that stuff. So you got to find a way for him. I don't really know what it's going to look like. It's going to be super interesting to see how they choose to do this. I think you have to put Sayer right out though. I'm just saying for the morale of the team, I think you do that because the moment you put Buford on the bench, everyone's gonna be like, "Well, Buford been here since day one."
Yeah, and he's been good too, right?
He's
Outside
been
of
good.
a few gaffes.
Yeah,
like he's been all right.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Hill has let up, a touchdown, right? Buford, I can't remember if Buford has let up anything as far as a touchdown.
I mean, he should have let a touchdown.
Right. It hit him in his face.
That's the hard part with Buford, right? It's like, are you going to take, one, not even an entire drive, like a small sample of a drive, and that's the reason?
Right, exactly. So that you can't, as a sample size, that doesn't make sense. So you have to give Sayer Wright credit, though. So Indiana, we know they're a heavy pass team, right? And, they do have a good back in Ellison from Wake Forest. He's real dynamic, real shifty, real strong, runs real hard, but Rook, how do we say his name? The quarterback of Indiana, Rook.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't know why when you're saying. Let me look it up in the actual pronunciation.
It's Kyle Rook or something like that. Anyways, he's I believe he's top 5 in the nation. I believe he's leading the Big Ten in passing yards. He's around, I believe, 1,700. Cam Ward is leading the league with 2,200 right now. But the Indiana offense, they're going to spread you out. They're going to keep throwing. So this leaves an opportunity for you to go dime, for you to go true nickel, where you bring Buford into the slot, or you put a backer out, right? You put Javen Wright at middle linebacker, our best coverage guy, and you bring in Sayer Wright, and you have Buford on the outside, Tommy Hill on the outside. You got Sayer Wright in the slot, Malcolm Harzog in the slot, and you got Gifford and Deshaun Singleton at safety. So you got plenty of opportunities for that. And then obviously that's when you bring in Mr. Sackman James Williams, and you let him do his thing.
Yeah, apparently it's just Rock.
What? It's Rock?
Yeah, the way that pronunciation comes out.
Dang, that's a bummer.
I'm going to get pronunciation guys right now. That's what they got. But yeah, and when it comes to, I'm sorry, what was the question? I was Googling a lot of that, trying to figure out how the hell do I say this guy's name? Because I want to give him his credit.
I guess I was just saying that Indiana going to get in these pass-heavy downs and pass-heavy formations, that there's going to be an opportunity to have Buford, Sayer Wright, and Tommy Hill on the field at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's the answer, right? Like, hey, let's not just overanalyze and freak out and decide who's going to sit.
Right.
You can rotate guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the craziest thing in the world. And especially, like, to your point with Indiana, if we get to a point where they're just running guys all over the field, sending their receivers out, like, you might be a big beneficiary to be able to sub Buford out or Tommy Hill out, because Tommy Hill too with the injury, like, he might be the right guy to make sure he's continuing to rest that, rehab that. Like, he's good enough to play, don't get me wrong, but if it's one of those situations where you got a bunch of great players and you feel comfortable with all of them, like, let's make sure Tommy Hill, as he's getting ready for the NFL, we do him right too. And if he needs a breather, we got guys we can trust to put out there.
Yeah. And that's a great point. You want to make sure you do Tommy Hill right, because he has big things ahead of him. And I think all these guys could get a chance based on their play. If they keep elevating, they all can get a chance. Everyone on the starting defense, to be honest, can get a chance. Like, I think Deshaun Singleton is going to get a chance at the league. Gifford, Malcolm's been playing consistent football since a true freshman. Buford, depending on what position he wants to play, what position fits him. And then obviously, I believe the backers and John Bullock, Javen Wright, and Mekhi Bayer's an interesting one. I think his game's going to keep taking off. I think last year was his first real year of action. And so, yeah, he's going to keep taking off. And, you got the young guy in Vincent Shavers, wearing number 1 for a reason. He's going to be the future of that backer room.
It looks like it. We got to throw it to break here. One more guy I want to throw out here, though. Brian Buschini.
Woo!
He might be an NFL guy someday, the way he's been playing.
Bombshini.
Up to him. He's got to keep racking up those punts inside the 20. Maybe he can get a few inside the 10, but he's going to have a shot here to work up those. I mean, nobody's maybe going to be drafting the punters, quote unquote. Right. A shot in the league nonetheless. All right, we're going to throw it to break here again. We're going to have the Kansas City Royals as they got the Yankees. They are down currently 2-1.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $437 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1004120, 437 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 5,500 dual signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 9/30/2024. See dealer for details.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Tailored Life is your headquarters for all things fall in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, mums, and more. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
I can't believe I just scratched that card. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Landmark Implement helps you put dirt in its place with increased accuracy and greater speed thanks to the John Deere Smart Grade. This fully integrated 3D grade control system boosts job site productivity and reduces labor costs with fewer passes and less wasted material, meaning more bids won and higher margins. No masts, no cables, just clear views of the job site. Visit your local Landmark Implement today and discover the profit-boosting power of the Smart Grade and experience the Landmark difference.
All right, welcome back in. What's brewing with Chance of Brewington, the former Husker tight end. And to my left, I'm talking a lot of Husker football here. Talked about guys on the defensive side of the ball who's got some real opportunities to go pro and go play on Sundays. Well, I guess we're talking NFL. You can play on a Sunday, you can play on a Monday, you can play on a Thursday, Tuesday even. If it's a holiday, they'll slide that in there. Basically, they just don't play on Wednesdays. That's the NFL motto today. But Chance of Brewington, where do you want to go next?
Yeah, so we got to go our mid-season previews or mid-season takeaways and mid-season predictions for Nebraska football. What a better time for a bye week, Harrison, than now.
Seriously.
I mean, halfway through the year, you're 5-1. You drop a game to Illinois. I mean, Rule talked about it. Like, he enjoys the win for 20 minutes, and then, he's always thinking about that. We should have been 6-0, and that fires them up to get ready for the next game and the next week of preparation and all that good stuff. When I look at this Nebraska team, we should be 6-0.
It would be way cooler, right? If you had 6-0 versus 5-0.
Yeah, and now if you're 6-0 right now,
you're ranked. Indiana's ranked,
but that's compounded though. Those wins are compounded. You're probably a top 15 team.
Yeah,
top 14.
And Indiana's coming in there still at 18 because they haven't dropped a game.
Yeah,
you have a 15-18 matchup and another opportunity because it's going to be an opportunity to beat a ranked opponent.
Yeah,
forever.
Yeah,
I can't even tell you when the last time it was.
Yeah, you're going to get an opportunity in Indiana. You're going to get an opportunity in Ohio State. I don't know what's going to happen with this USC Penn State game. Let's say USC gets back in the top 25. You have an opportunity there. Harrison doesn't think so. Wisconsin and Iowa, I doubt it, and UCLA is a for sure no. So you're gonna have at least two opportunities to beat a ranked opponent. And so now when we look at the schedule, I think the overall takeaways of these past 6 games is consistency on offense. Just talking about offensive side, we have a legit quarterback. I think he's going to be a future top 5 draft pick in Dylan Raiola.
If everything keeps clicking, that's not a crazy statement.
He's going to just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, if you're on X, you're just because he looks like Mahomes, they're going to tell you you're crazy. But if you actually go watch the tape, he's good.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Rutgers was his worst game by far, I think.
By far, and I think that will probably be the worst game he plays while he's here.
I think, yeah, I think so. I mean, because what was he 50% on the day? If that, just under it, with the pick,
I think
no touchdowns.
Yeah, he had
negative
the
rushing yards.
QBR of 15, I think.
Yeah, that might be the worst one.
Sacked 5 times. And some of it needed to happen. When you look at freshman quarterbacks and guys that are making the transition from high school, you need those type of games where you play a Big Ten opponent and some of the scrambling outside the pocket you can't really do, against a Rutgers D line that you could probably do against a UNI and a UTEP and even a Colorado, right? So you need those type of games. I'm still frustrated with the running game. I've been vocal about it. I'll continue to say it.
What's the problem there, though?
I think it's a consistency on first of all, you missed out on an opportunity to establish the run game in UNI week. You go and pull Dante out second half. He doesn't play the whole second half. And then all of a sudden you need to run him Illinois week and he's not hitting holes the way he should, right? Some of that's on Dante. Some of that's on the coaching staff, I believe. Because he runs real good against Colorado and then he gets 6 carries against UNI. And I know some of that's you want to rush your guys, but at some point you need these guys to build a rhythm. And I think that's why you have them in there. And some of it is just you're just doing a little bit too much in the run game or you're not doing enough of the same thing. I think the offensive line is playing good football. I think at some point you run guys in motion, you get guys on their toes or on their heels, I should say, and you run the same type of things, just add a little wrinkle in here and there.
Yeah, this is where I'm at with the running back room. Rutgers was the first time I changed my opinion.
Ooh,
because I finally saw all these guys kind of look the same.
Running backs,
yeah. Versus Rutgers, they all kind of.
Ramir had a really good game, though.
Ramir looked good, but I'm also at the point where it's maybe this running back by committee, to your point, let's just get a guy in rhythm, and then if he really needs one, we'll take him out. But maybe we're being too nice. At some point, we gotta stop. And this might be crazy. Stop caring about people's feelings. Pick a guy. Pick the guy you think is gonna be your best shot. Until he proves to you he's no longer your best shot, that's your guy.
I'm not mad at that.
Build some rhythm. If it's Dante or Emmett, I don't care. Pick someone.
Yeah, I like that. There, you hear the frustration in Harrison's voice. I like it.
I'm usually a nice guy too.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I don't know. Okay, so offense. I think offensive line so far has exceeded my expectations. These past 2 weeks, I mean, Illinois and Rutgers week had some fall off, but
they protected the pocket pretty well for the most part. I think I'm with you. Go ahead. I'm with you. I had to think about
with
it,
me,
but I'm with you.
Okay. Because the left tackle